dog. He's got a really hard life right now. Oh, it's so hard. I know. I know. Hi. Yes, you're so cute. You are. um. Uh, I just want to somehow put it out into the world, the stuff that I really want to do with my horse, because I'm overwhelmed. Um, every saddle I try, she just rears, and I can't afford a custom saddle. And I can't even tell what's wrong with the fit of the saddle I have right now. I checked all the things that I can possibly see with my eyes and poke with my fingers, and something's wrong with it though. That's what she's telling me. That's all I can imagine based on her behavior. I put the saddle on and we walk. She's okay, and I ask her to move up. We trot, and she can't move up. You know that point where she would lift up her back and bring her hind end under her. She just can't do it. She can't. She can't. She rears instead. And then I put her on a lunge line and I watch her, and she moves all right. She moves just fine. It's as if, once I'm in the saddle on her back, suddenly it's just no good. I'm waiting for a bareback pad to come in the mail because if I just sit on her with no friction under my butt, I'm worried that I'll just slide off because when I ask her to move up with the saddle, she rears, but then if she's not rearing, and I'm sort of, because I mean, I'm trying really hard to have a conversation with her, and I'm like, what if we just a little wiggle, not even a full trot, but what if we just really walked a little more oomph, and like, come on, how about this? How about this? So we're trying, and she tries with me, and she's like, oh, and then she's like, nah, and then but then I'm like, please don't rear. So she jumps instead. She goes like and she pops and she wiggles and she kicks, and I'm just like, okay, all right. And then she puts her head down and she's like, getting ready rear, and I'm like, it's okay. I'm sorry. I won't ask anymore. So I'm hoping it's the saddle. If it's not the saddle and I'm sitting on her bareback and she starts pretending she's in the circus, I just think it would be safer for me to have some friction under my butt before going into that, you know? So we're gonna see. But the funny thing is, like, I'm really comfortable from her back. Because that's what I know. I spent my whole young life on my pony, and I feel like if I'm on a horse's back, I know everything. I feel how she's holding herself. If if we're balanced, how her back is, if her butt's under her, like I can feel like each hoof hit the ground, and as we go through the corner, I have like it's like my brain knows where her whole body is from her back. It's like I like know where she is and how we're doing and how we're holding ourselves, and I know how to talk with her about it, and I know how to sort of like ask for what I want and how to feel when I'm getting it right. I can have that conversation, but that's just because I just spent my whole life on my pony's back and we just ran around and we jumped things and blah blah blah, and I got used to it, right? I didn't see people working with their horses from the ground, and I know that's really powerful. And I know that there are things you can ask for on the ground that, I mean, you can ask for from the saddle, but I don't know how to ask for everything. I know how to do what you need in order to just, basically to show gambler's choice. There's there's a bunch of jumps and you want to hit them all. You don't want to knock them down and you want to go fast. So sometimes that means on the straightaway you gallop from one end to the other. And then you get to the end and then sometimes you got to like, like pull it in and just like pivot. The real quick turnaround. And then there's the like, I need to turn, but also like hold myself together because there's a jump right there. So I need to, not go around like a motorcycle. So like you come and you turn and you bend and you very nicely like dressage, and then there's your jump and you kind of pull it in, and then you stretch out, you like expand and contract. You you kind of like, I don't know how to really. So like I can do that. I can do the turns, like the really nice bend through the corner, straighten out, go in the other direction, flying lead changes. Sort of just having this bouncy idea of like, you know, yelp, nice up trot, just back and forth, all those things. It's fun. I can do that. But if you want to, I know that you can have your horse sort of independently move their shoulders or their hindquarters. Um, and you can even like, have them sort of like track that way. So like move your shoulders slightly off and then continue down the length of the arena, like at that slight angle, like on three tracks. And there's sidestepping. Like, go down the diagonal, kind of crossing your legs over that way. And there's even counter bending where you're bent in one direction, but you're moving in the other direction. So these are all really cool tools, I think, or not tools, but I think it's really awesome for a horse to be able to um, have this sense of their own body of like where are my legs and how can I move all of my pieces, just to feel that. I mean, God, I know I'm always trying to be aware of my own body. Like I'm trying really hard to work on at least just standing up straight. and and I still do some of my old physical therapy exercises for my knees, and then I had like a pelvic tilt. So it's like, for your core, and I mean, it's really cool to like move different parts of your body independently in different positions and feel the different kinds of strength that and balance that takes and the awareness. It's really healthy, I think. So I want her to have that. And I've never learned how to do that from her back. And it seems like cool that you can teach them that from the ground. And I think that makes the most sense, right? But I don't know how. There's books, there's videos even, but I am so overwhelmed by trying to do things by myself that I haven't just like followed along with someone in person. For some reason, that's a really big thing for me. Even with cooking, like I didn't grow up seeing people cook. So the idea of just opening up a recipe book and making something by myself when like I don't have these experiences of like being in the kitchen with someone while they're cooking and watching them or whatever. It just felt very much like doing something totally alien and foreign that I've never seen before, all by myself, all alone, and it just seemed so overwhelming. And so like the idea of like learning how to do groundwork with her, and it just freaks me out. Which is not logical, but holds me back. But it's okay because just because I feel like, oh God, I can't do that, doesn't mean I'm not going to go and do it. And at first I'm going to be like, oh my goodness, but I'm going to be doing it. And then I'll keep on doing it. And then it'll be easy. And then I'll be like, wow, this is great. And the first bunch of times I'm going to feel like, the whole time. But that's okay. It's okay to feel that way. So this is like sort of me putting it out there into the world. Like, I'm just going to do it. But God help me because she's so upset with me. it took me like 2 hours to catch her in the field last time because I don't know. I guess I'm just the bad person with the bad saddle, and it's it hurts me in my heart a little bit. Like I'm not mad at her, but I'm like mad at the world and myself that it is such that I put it on her back and I sit on her and she rears and I don't know what to think and I just keep thinking it must be me. I'm not sitting up right. I'm not asking right. She's confused. I need to sort of try to work her through this from her back from the saddle. And and then, when that obviously wasn't working, I just got off. I lunged her to make sure she was moving, and it didn't help, didn't change anything. She was fine, just the saddle's still not good. So I said, okay, like I'm not obviously it's not me trying harder. There's something beyond. And I was like, okay. And I attacked her and I brush her down, I take her for walks through the field, I scratch her butt, and she loves it. She's sitting there twisting her head and she's sticking her lip out and she's like rubbing her butt on me. Like she's having fun when I grooming her, but and I didn't push her with the saddle. I asked a bunch of times, but I never forced her. I mean, I can't. But that's all it took. She doesn't want anything to do with me. I was there with apples and carrots. Every horse in the field was mobbing me. I was in the middle of a throng. They were mad about the apples. And she would come towards, I mean, I'm not approaching her. I'm not chasing her. I'm standing there. I'm like, I see you over there. I'm watching you. And eventually, I hope you'll want some of this. She given me the side eye. And she starts walking towards me. And I'm like, yes. In my heart, I'm like, ah, but I'm like real stoic, and I just like put my hand out with an apple. The moment I just put the apple sort of like away from my body so that she can sort of maybe smell it more. I don't know. The moment I gesture, she just dips, turns right away, deflected, just off in the other direction. You won't come near me again for another half hour because I did this. I mean, I've never hit this horse. I don't know. I mean, I guess obviously it was really uncomfortable for her, but I wish it wasn't. I try so hard to be really gentle and really quiet and careful and slow and and to I just mm, and then I because of what I grew up hearing, like I always have those voices in the back of my head, and I don't really believe them, but they follow me around, So when I'm trying really carefully and quietly, and I'm like, all right, like I'm not gonna chase my horse down. I'm gonna, stand here and hope she comes over to me, and then we're gonna be nice, and then we're gonna go do things, and I just hear the like voice of like, when you've got your horse, you get them. When you've got them, they're not doing what you're telling them. They're being stubborn, mean, and you need to discipline them. And you need to make them listen to you by being harsher. And I think that's so arrogant. And also, I don't think it works. I mean, I think maybe with some horses, I guess if you're mean to them, they'll sort of just curl up inside and die and do what you're saying. But I don't think that's a good way to get good performance. I think that you get something, but it's not great. And I think that only even works at all to that small extent with some horses. And with other ones, they'll just kill you both. I'm pretty sure if I pushed my horse, she would flip over backwards on both of us. So I am not tempted to push her or discipline her in any way, even from the ground. I don't feel that in my heart. but I have this stupid voice in the back of my head when I try really hard my way and I fail, or I feel like I failed because I don't see any kind of encouraging anything that gives me some sort of hope to go forward. I just hear that voice saying, "Well, your way's not working. That's because you're being a dumb idiot and you should have just beat your horse." Um, and I don't like having that voice in my head, but I don't know what to do about it. I guess just time. Eventually, you get away from all of the crappy shit you were told when you were younger. Maybe. I don't know. May, ah. But so that makes it little more complicated, I guess. But I do believe in trying it this way, so we're gonna try. Oh, my dog. There's my dog. He's being cute. Hi. Hi, old man. Here. Here, you. Jake doesn't understand that I have a horse that needs attention. He thinks that he's the only pet that I have. So, of course, whenever I have time, I should be walking him. You know. He doesn't agree that there are times that I need to go spend time with my other animal and leave him bored. I bring him to the barn though. I leave him in the car, and I roll down all the windows, and he just looks out the windows and he watches the birds. We're gonna do it. We're gonna figure it out. We're gonna figure it out. But it's been quite the journey. I'm very surprised, but maybe I shouldn't be. Saddles are complicated, and I don't know, but I have this feeling that especially with horses' backs changing shape as they age or have different muscle condition. And like if you have a wolf lock saddle, the padding packs down, and also horses, at least the horses I've seen, they are such individuals. I mean, when I was a kid, everyone just had thoroughbreds from the track, so they were all like carbon copies of each other. They were all built exactly the same way. Um, but like the horses that I've seen at most stables I've been at, they're mutts. They're from all over the place. They're all sorts of funny shapes and sizes. There's this one horse at the barn and that where one of his feet's bigger than the other. Like actually, he wears two different size hoof boots. And no one can figure it out. Like what the hell? So the fact that trying ready-made saddles it just seems so hit or miss to me. I'm so skeptical because of the way my horse is responding that, you know, an off the rack anything that, is really ever going to be quite right. And a well fitted saddle is so important. It's everything. And how I don't know anyone who has the money for a custom fitted saddle to be regularly checked by a saddle fitter, to be reflocked whenever that's needed. I mean, we can barely feed ourselves. And I think that the construction of saddles is so beautiful. And I think it's an incredible feat of engineering. And I think that the people who have spent the years learning the skills and the crafts and the trade and have that knowledge and wisdom and insight to create these incredible functional masterpieces, I think those people deserve every penny that they get and then some. I just, I'm at such a loss as to, I just don't feel like I can make that part of my world. I've got a dog, I've got rent. Man. um, yeah. So, and oh my God, like she just had her teeth done. Oh, it's important, and I'm so glad. And the guy was amazing, and I am happy to pay him what I paid him. But all of it adds up. Oh heavens. So so I just don't feel like saddles have been kind to me or are accessible. They're not accessible. Um, so we're gonna try bareback, and we're gonna try groundwork. I think the first thing I need to do is get her to stop being afraid of me or mad at me. I don't know, whatever emotion it is that whenever she sees me, she has zero desire to approach me at all. And that I don't want that to be that way. So, I'm hoping that it has a lot to do with the fact that I'm the one who put a saddle on her, and it's the saddle really, because every other interaction we had, she's really happy. She really likes it. So So I'm hoping that if we just take the saddle out of the equation, we can rebuild that relationship. And I'm thinking it might just take me going out into the field, like maybe if I can get there every day and shoot for the stars, right? What if I could get there every day and just try and get us to be near each other in the field and I'm not even take her anywhere. Just be there, and give her some good scratches, and that would be amazing. And I mean, you know what? Maybe I should just try for that. Just let her see me and realize that I'm not gonna do anything except give her a good scratch, and maybe that is just the most important. And once we've got that, I would like to start taking her out, and I want to try some stretches. I mean, I always do carrot stretches, but I've got a book on groundwork that mentions, leg stretches, like leg circles. So, clockwise and counterclockwise circles with each leg, and then also doing it while pulling the leg forward, back, and out. Each of those only a very tiny bit at first, slowly, just to help limber them up. And I think I want to work with that, especially because she doesn't like to stand for her feet being trimmed. She doesn't even like to hold her feet up when I pick them. So maybe maybe this will help. And I think I just want her to I want to be closer with her. I want to be able to handle her more, and I want her to trust me, and I want her to sort of let me help her, because right now she's kind of standoffish, and if if she isn't willing to trust me and let me move her, she is not going to have the benefit of the like the exercise that I can help her do, so that she can have good muscle condition and good posture and be healthy for the rest of her life. And especially as she gets older, I feel like it's very important to keep her top line strong. You know, I don't want her to be this old mare with a sunken back and stiff hocks. I want her moving and healthy and happy, and I want her to let me help her. But I'm sure that she will when she feels safe. And I guess it's really hard to feel safe when someone puts something on you that pokes and hurts. So I need to learn not to do that. And I should have listened to her earlier. But I just have always been told that if you ride your horse bareback, you'll cause tons of damage to their backs. And, you can't keep your weight off their spine, and you'll compress their vertebrae. And, like, it'll like a horror show nightmare that you're basically just like taking an axe to your horse's spine and killing them. Like, there's some real scary shit I've heard people say. And I know that every possible opinion is out there on the internet and out there in the world, right? But all it takes is one, like, boom, to scare the crap out of me because I'm terrified of hurting my horse. So it's very hard to be objective and go, should I trust this? Should I measure this? You know, how should I weigh this information with all the other things that I have and I know in my experiences? Very hard for me to do that because my blood pressure just spikes and I'm like, oh God, no! Because I love her very much. And I've basically built my entire life around trying to provide for my pets, even though I feel like they don't even know it, you know? Like, I've done everything I ever possibly could have done, but it's not as though everything I do means that we're always outside in the parks or playing around in the sun. Like, me busting my ass is sometimes just like, oh, just so you know, you haven't seen me in months, but I paid for your food again today. Like, she doesn't know, like, my horse doesn't know me, even though everything I'm doing is for her. But, you know, she's just out there living by herself. Like, yeah, she doesn't know what I'm doing for her. So it hurts to, to do, to, to take your entire life and make it for something and not be able to have that relationship. Um, it's sad on the one hand, but on the other hand, like, if I didn't, then I wouldn't even have her still, and I wouldn't have any chance or hope of having the relationship that I want and seeing her grow happy and healthy for the rest of her life and into her old age, because I don't know where she'd be. So, am I sad that I missed out on a lot of quality time with her that I wanted to have? Yeah, I'm really sad. But at the same time that I'm sad, I'm really grateful for the opportunities I still have. So I guess just like, here's to moving forward and here's to trying to get all the good stuff that's still there to be gotten. And I think it's going to be okay.